Hallo Leute, welcome back to Deutsch Flicks, where German feels simpler than choosing a bread at bakery.
Die nächste bitte.
Oh, ich hätte gerne so rechts. Nee.
So today's topic is Modal Verben im Präteritum. But wait, haven't we already discussed Modal Verben at A1 level? So verbs like können, wollen, sollen, müssen, mögen, dürfen. So these are modal verbs, but we discuss them in present tense. So what if you learnt a particular skill, let's say as a child, and now you completely forgot it? An example, I could play guitar, but I can't do that anymore. So we will be discussing each and every modal verb, but in Präteritum, which is simple past. Sind Sie bereit? Are you ready? Los geht's. So what are modal verbs? These are the words that describe modality. Now it could be possibility, ability, necessity, obligation, and we also use them for giving advice or suggestion to someone. So Präteritum, we have discussed this simple past tense only for two verbs at A1 level, which were hatten and waren. So these are the Präteritum of the verb haben and sein respectively. Hatten means had and waren means was or were. So when we discussed the conjugation table for modal verbs, we saw okay, the conjugation with ish and as, it was same. Now it's just that we have a different tense. So the conjugation, the rule stays the same. So even if you forgot the conjugation table, it is completely fine because we are gonna take a look at them on the next page. So when we were to describe our actions in past, there are two tenses, Präteritum, and then we have something called Perfekt that we learned at A1. But the thing is when it comes to the verbs like haben or sein, we use the Präteritum hatten and waren. Also, this is true with modal verbs as well. We do not use participe zwei or perfect of the modal verbs. We use Präteritum because perfect or participe zwei, they sound so weird for all the modal verbs. So they have become obsolete nowadays. Germans are hardly using them. And this is the only reason we are discussing Präteritum of all the modal verbs. And now I'll write the formula to make Präteritum of all the modal verbs. So we have to take the root of the verb but without umlaut. Like if umlauts are present, you have to erase umlaut, then the letter T and then en at the end. Now on the next page, I'll show you all the modal verbs but in present tense, and you have to follow this formula and write down the Präteritum of these verbs. So we have können, can or be able to, müssen, must or have to, dürfen, may or be allowed to, wollen, to want, sollen, should or be supposed to, and mögen, to like. I'll show my answers in 5 seconds. You can pause the video. So formula is very simple. We have to take the root first. So in order to identify root, all I have to do is remove en. Whatever is left will be the root. So kyon will be the root. But if there are umlauts present, I have to erase them, which I did. Then comes the letter T and then the ending en. Konnten, which means could. Now for müssen, I have to take the root. For taking root, I have to remove en. So I'll be left with muss, but I also have to remove umlauts. So it will be muss, and then T, and then en. Mussten, it means had to. Now similarly, I'll write for other verbs. So for dürfen, durften. Do not pronounce it as durften. It is do. Durften. Durften. Now for wollen, it is wollten, which means wanted. For sollen, sollten, which means was supposed to. Now comes mögen, which is exception. If you have written mochten, that's wrong. It's called mochten. And the meaning will be liked. So your A1 level is also getting revised. So before we move forward and discuss the example sentences, I will show you the conjugation table in present tense first, so that it is revision for you. Okay, so we just have to memorize the conjugation table only for ish. So for können ish kann, for wollen ish will, for sollen ish soll, for müssen ish muss, dürfen ish darf, and mögen ish mag. And we know that conjugation with ish and as, it will be same. So we can just copy paste whatever we wrote for ish. Now with do, what we do, we add st. So kannst, willst, sollst, then here musst, darfst, magst. With wir, zizi, we anyway do not conjugate the verb, so we just write the base form. And with ihr, we take the root and end it with t. So kjönt, wollt, sollt, müsst, dürft, mögt. So I'll highlight that with ish and as, conjugation is same, not only in present tense. So we have konnten, wollten, sollten, mussten, durften, mochten. As you know, with ish, there is a sound at the end, or letter e. So all you have to do is just remove this n from all the verbs. So ish konnte, wollte, sollte, musste, durfte, mochte. And with do, we add st. So I have added st for all the verbs. With as, conjugation remains the same with ish and as. So copy paste. With wir and zizi, we know we have to take this verb itself. There's no need of conjugating it. And with ihr, we add only t at the end. So this is the conjugation table for all the modal verbs in past tense. Now it's time to discuss the example sentences. So I've written two sentences. I can play guitar, which is in present tense, and I could play guitar, which is in past tense. So just try doing the translation on your own, and then I'll show my answer in 5 seconds. First up, we have I can play guitar. So my subject is ish. The modal verb that we have to use is können, which I'll conjugate according to kann. What do we do with the main verb? Remember, this is my auxiliary verb, helping verb, and play is my main verb. So, which is called spielen in German. So, I'll throw this spielen at the end. This is what we do, right, with modal verbs. That's how the sentence structure look like, that you conjugate the modal verb and then the main verb goes to the end of the sentence in infinitive form. Now what is left? Guitar is left, which is Gitarre. Ich kann Gitarre spielen. Now there's no change in the sentence structure in past. All I have to do is replace kann with konnte. So the rules of present tense of all the modal verbs remain the same in past tense as well. Now you have to translate these sentences. They were allowed to smoke. He liked the coffee. And let's also revise because the first topic of A2. She could not come because she had fever. We'll discuss this in 5 seconds. First up we have they were allowed to smoke. Subject will be sie. Were allowed to. That means we have to use the verb durften. So with sie it will be same. Durften. What is my main verb? Main verb is smoke, which is rauchen, which will come at the end of the sentence. Sie durften rauchen. Now we have he liked the coffee. Subject is er. Liked. That means we have to use mochten, which I'll conjugate according to er. Er mochte. Now we have the coffee, which is called der Kaffee. Aber hier gibt es einen Fehler, but there is a mistake over here. You might have forgotten the case. So, mochten being conjugated according to er, this is the nominative subject. Now, the coffee is my direct object, which will come in accusative case. So, my der has to change to den. In accusative case, masculine gender der changes to den. So I'll erase this and write here den. Er mochte den Kaffee. If you're still struggling with case system, I have created videos on nominative, accusative and dative, which you can check in my A1 playlist. And all your questions, all your problems will be resolved in the case system. Now we have she could not come because she had fever. Let's concentrate on she could not come. Sie could not. That means we have to use konnten. I'll conjugate according to sie. Sie konnte nicht, and my main verb kommen will come at the end. So we are done with first part. Komma, what is because called in German? Weil. While she is sie, had fever. So hatte Fieber. Aber hier gibt es einen Fehler. There is a mistake. Mistake is that with while, our conjugated verb goes to the end of the sentence. So I'll put this hatte thing at the end. Sie konnte nicht kommen, weil sie Fieber hatte. We can also start our sentence with weil, then it will be weil sie Fieber hatte. Comma. So we have to follow verb comma verb rule. If you remember, we have verb, we have comma. Now we need the conjugated verb. So it will be konnte. Now who is conjugating this verb konnten as konnte? It is sie. So I'll write the subject. Now what is left? Nicht kommen. Weil sie Fieber hatte, konnte sie nicht kommen. Okay, so if you have understood these example sentences, there is one practice exercise that you have to solve. Ergänzen Sie die Modalverben im Präteritum. We have to fill modal verbs in Präteritum. And for Nummer 1, these are the options. For 2 and 3, these are the options. I'll show my answers in 5 seconds. You can pause the video, and it's okay to use dictionary for individual words. Okay, Nummer 1. Luke, du nach dem Abitur Medizin studieren. So Abitur, you can relate it with 12th or 13th class according to Indian education system. So in Germany, you do Abitur. That's called Abitur. So it will be, wolltest du nicht nach dem Abitur Medizin studieren? It means, did you not want to study medicine after the Abitur? Now the reply is, nein, ich wollte Sport studieren. I wanted to study sports. Aber dann hatte ich eine Knieverletzung. Verletzung means injury. Knie is your knee. But then I had a knee injury und konnte keinen Sport mehr machen. I could not do sports anymore. So the verb wollten shows your desires in the past and konnten shows the ability. Since the person got injured, he was not able to do sports anymore. Now, Nummer 2, we have dürfen and müssen. Okay. Wir Luke am Abend immer bis 22 Uhr Hausaufgaben machen. Now, doing homework is a necessity. It's an obligation. Like you have to do it. You must do it. So we will fill müssen but in Präteritum. So it will be mussten. Wir mussten. We had to do homework always till 10 in the evening. Now someone is saying, wirklich, really? Ich durfte am Abend einen Film sehen oder am Computer spielen. Basically, this child was lucky. Really, I was allowed to watch a movie in the evening or play on a computer. Nummer 3. Ich liebe immer Sport machen, aber ich liebe lieber lesen. Ich mag Sport nicht. Okay, this sentence can help me mark my answer. I do not like sports. The person is saying I don't like sports. So that means I cannot fill here wollte. Ich wollte immer Sport machen. Because now these statements are contradicting. I always wanted to do sports. I don't like sport. So they are contradiction, right? So we will go with sollte first. That I was supposed to do sports always, aber ich wollte lieber lesen. But I wanted to rather read. Basically, the person is not at all interested in the sports, but rather learning or reading. Now, someone is saying, this is interessant, that's interesting. Now, the option that I'm left with will be konnte. Ich konnte nur in der Schule Sport machen. I could only do sports in the school. Danach hatte ich keine Zeit. I did not have time. Immer lernen, lernen, lernen. Always learning, learning, learning. So two opposite personalities. One doesn't like sport at all. One likes sports but didn't have time. So with modal verbs exercise, the thing is you have to understand the context. Otherwise, you end up filling the wrong modal verb. I hope you got some confidence. If not, then there's one more exercise that you can solve. Presence oder Präteritum. But you have to level up. You have to decide whether you'll use that particular modal verb in present tense or past tense. What you have to fill is already given in the brackets. Pause the video, let's discuss this in 5 seconds. Okay, Nummer 1. Luke, ihr noch Hausaufgaben machen? So far I do not have any clue whether to fill it in presence or the Präteritum. But next line. 9. Wir sind fertig. No, we are done. This is in present tense. Luke, wir jetzt schwimmen gehen? So jetzt, this word means now. That means the entire conversation is in present tense. So we'll fill. Müsst ihr noch Hausaufgaben machen? Do you still have to do the homework? Nein, wir sind fertig. No, we are done. Dürfen wir jetzt schwimmen gehen? Are we allowed to go for swimming? Nummer 2. Warum Luke du gestern nicht lernen? Now the word gestern means yesterday. And yesterday means past. So we will be filling können in past. Warum konntest du gestern nicht lernen? Why could you not learn yesterday? Now the entire conversation will be in past. Ich wollte lernen, I wanted to learn. Aber ich war so müde, but I was so tired. Müde, tired. Nummer 3. Warum waren Sie gestern nicht im Unterricht? Why were you not in the class yesterday? Again we have gestern, which means yesterday. So the entire conversation will be in past tense. Entschuldigung, ich konnte nicht kommen, I could not come. Ich musste zum Arzt gehen, I had to go to the doctor. Hat gesagt, he said, ich sollte zu Hause bleiben. I was supposed to stay at home. Hat gesagt, he said. So here we have again in past. Perfect this time. If there are still any doubt from this exercise or from the previous exercises, you can let me know your doubts in the comment section and I'll reply. Now for your extra knowledge. Some students have this confusion that perfect or the participle zwei of the modal verbs, they are not used nowadays. But how do they look like? Now in order to check this, we can use the dictionary Leo. And I'll write the modal verb. Let's take können. I'll search this verb. And I'll again click on the verb können. I'll scroll a little, the German section where you can see the German flag. I'll again click on the verb formen können. So I'll click on it and you will see the conjugation table. First up we have presence in present tense. Then we have perfect. Ich habe gekonnt. Du hast gekonnt. Es hat gekonnt und so weiter, etc. So you can take a look that this looks so weird. Hat gekonnt, habe gekonnt, hast gekonnt. Instead, what we use is Präteritum. Ich konnte, du konntest, es konnte und so weiter, etc. I'll take one more verb as an example. So dürfen, I'll click on it. I'll scroll a little to check the conjugation table. In yellow, dürfen, click on it. And you will see the conjugation table in present tense, in perfect. So it's called ich habe gedurft, du hast gedurft, es hat gedurft. But we use Präteritum because perfect sounds so weird. Now another confusion that student has is with this verb möchten. The meaning is would like to. So I would like a coffee, ich möchte einen Kaffee. But this is not a modal verb. It behaves like a modal verb. So what exactly is möchten? That you will understand at A2 but a little later. And that's a wrap on Modal Verben im Präteritum. If you get stuck anywhere, just remember, Übung macht den Meister. Practice makes the man perfect. Bis bald. See you soon. Tschüss.
Like and subscribe.